Ampharos fires off the brutal swing, instantly putting Gorgeist below half health. Shadow Cacturne enters the arena, deletes it in the blink of an eye. Devoncheddar still with 2 shields to hide behind. Shadow Gyarados re-enters the arena. Cacturne says, "Enjoy yourself, trainer." Aquatail simply doesn't get the job done. Cacturne reaches the Trailblaze, and that is going to be all she wrote. Welcome back to the channel. Firstly, happy holidays to those of you that celebrate. It's been a while, but today we are back at it, featuring one of my favourite battlers, none other than Devoncheddar. And let's be honest, if you look to the left, this is going to be a double dark team like you've never seen before. I've got a horrible habit of chatting for far too long. I haven't uploaded in ages, so I'm sure you want to see some battles. So with all that being said, without any further ado, let's get into the battles. Let's hope I actually remember how to shoutcast on Pokemon Go. And in battle number 1, we have Ampharos into Cradilly. Devoncheddar says no thank you, save switches into Shadow Shiftry, and we're immediately hard punished by Shadow Talonflame. Shiftry fires off the foul play. Foul play gets little respect, instantly putting the Kentucky Fried Chicken Bird of Death down deep into the red health range. Back out comes Ampharos. At worst, this is going to be a flame charge. The opponent actually fires off the fly. Ampharos shrugs off the damage. Back out comes Cradilly, and it's time to start vamping ourselves up. Ampharos fires off the Trailblaze. Trailblaze not only hits for neutral, but also 100% chance to vamp up our attack. Unless you're new to the game, I'm sure you don't need me to tell you just how bloody glassy Shadow Cacturne is. With that in mind, we're going to commit to our Ampharos, fire off the brutal swing, and if I'm being brutally honest with a brutal swing, what am I on about? We'd like this to go unshielded, and it does. Quick switch into Cacturne, and able to snipe down the remaining HP. Out comes Shadow Gator. We waste no time, fire off the Trailblaze, and our win con from here is nice and simple. Tap, tap, tap like a raving lunatic, and try and fast move beat this opponent down. Despite this being the regular for Alligator, these sucker punches are tearing through the HP. We see the instant shield deployed. Recognise him. We're going to be able to fire off one more sucker punch. Fast move beat the opponent all the way down and take that game. If that first battle is anything to go by, I imagine today's battles are going to fly by. And in the next battle, we see Gastron in the lead position. The opponent opts to stay in when Shiftry enters the arena, which is very, very questionable. Shiftry fires off the Leaf Blade, which will be double super effective, forcing the first Protect Shield of the game. The opponent then sends out Corviknight. Shiftry is going to fire off the foul play. Foul play hits for neutral and cleanly 2 shots in this battle. The opponent also throws a god-awful timing, essentially spamming the move straight after a charge move, giving us a free snarl. With that in mind, Devoncheddar smells the opportunity to realign his Pokemon, and he's going to look to do exactly that. Shiftry fires off the next foul play. Foul play forced the final Protect Shield, and that is a charge attack priority. Oh boy, trainer, you are absolutely fucked. The entire team's got grass-type coverage, so essentially that Gastron has nowhere to run and nowhere to hide. We see the instant no-shield deployed. As this is only an air cutter, Ampharos is now receiving the energy for said Trailblaze. Gastrodon surely doesn't re-enter the arena. Okay, yeah it does. But it's going to be hi Gastrodon, bye Gastrodon, remove yourself from my screen. That is so satisfying, man. That stupid Gastrodon. That bloody slug is one of the most boring, basic bitch Pokemon in the entire world. Toucannon makes a very brief cameo appearance, and we take that game. Apparently, after a small break from uploading, my potty mouth has not disappeared, as we are still trash talking all over the place. In the next battle, we see a fantastic lead. We actually see a simultaneous swap, and this hasn't actually worked out too bad for us. Despite the asses hitting Shiftry for super effective, Shiftry has a heavy pacing advantage in this mid-game matchup. Devoncheddar forced one Protect Shield. Going to invest a Protect Shield, blocking up the Rock Tomb. Recognise we're going to reach 2 further Leaf Blades before the opponent's able to fully acid farm us down. This Leaf Blade is at -1, but Shiftry hits like an absolute truck. I'm not actually sure this is going to be lethal. It's going to be hella close. Leaf Blade forces the opponent all shields down, and that works perfectly for us, setting Cacturne up in the endgame, but 1 to no shield advantage. Ever since the very early seasons, Water's always been the most common type, and if you hate water types, this could possibly be the team for you, as it just completely shits on all the water types. We send out Ampharos, tank the Rock Tomb, attempt to snipe down with Cacturne. Unfortunately, snipe attempt unsuccessful. Cacturne gets his attack lowered, but not for long, as we're going to be able to outpace to the Trailblaze, and straight away boost that attack back up. Greninja straight in and straight out. What is that third? The opponent sends back out Cradilly. Why? I'm not entirely sure why, to be honest, but the opponent did it anyway. Out comes Corsola. Corsola not going to appreciate the sucker punches or the Trailblaze. Trailblaze lands. We're able to sucker punch farm down, and that is another very quick dub. GG's, and thanks for playing. After seeing the opponent's third Pokemon, I guess the reason they sent out Cradily, they was hoping after a bit of acid damage, they was able to astonish farm down Cacturne, but Cacturne's like, nah. In the next battle, I think it's safe to say this one will be a loss. And the reason for that is our backline gets deleted by Wigglytuff, and Wigglytuff users love to shield in the lead position. For the love of God, trainer, what I want for Christmas is you to let this move go. Thank you. Holy. Ampharos attempts the Volt Switch farm down, unfortunately unable to do so, but has done its job, deleting this very pesky Charmer, or more or less anyway. Cacturne's actually able to Sucker Punch farm down before a single Charm registers, and get a small running start on energies. That kind of works out as a best case scenario. Not only was that a best case scenario, things are certainly looking up. Who the hell sends out Ludicolo into Cacturne? What the heck is in the back? I've not watched any content. This has got to be some kind of toxic fast move pressure crap that one of the other content creators has put out. Potentially double water or probably some kind of mud slapper. Something that our backline is just going to be very, very good into. It's actually the jellyfish. The opponent sees Shiftry, don't want that work. They say, GG's buddy, and we're moving swiftly on. In the next battle, we lead Ampharos into Sableye, a shiny shadow. You absolutely love to see it. We see the instant pivot into Shiftry. The opponent stays in, at least looking to fake a potential power gem or dazzling gleam, whichever move they've got. Will certainly delete Shiftry in a one-hit KO. The opponent again doesn't throw at the best timings, using a 2-turn move into a 3-turn move. You should throw one quick move at 4 or 7. After exchanging Protect Shields, the opponent makes the pivot into Cradily. Cradily instantly greeted with the Leaf Blade, and Shiftry is even going to be able to outpace the Leaf Blade number 2, either forcing the final Protect Shield or taking this mid-game matchup. The opponent invests the Protect Shield. Oof! I know it's the interlude season, but honestly, they should have committed to the acid farm down. Not that we're complaining. The opponent dumps their energy, and again, it looks like Cacturne is looking primed to sweep. Ampharos re-enters the arena, going to opt to fire off the Brutal Swing. Brutal Swing will be moving Cradily from the field of play. We see the instant pivot into Cacturne. Sableye re-enters the arena, banks a foul play, out comes Gator. Oh man, this is just over. Absolutely over. Cacturne going to invest the Protect Shield. I guess we're going to look to double up. We do exactly that. One Trailblaze will be moving for Alligator from the field of play. When Sableye re-enters the arena, it's going to be straight in and straight out. My boy Cacturne once again on cleanup duty. GG's that opponent. I've never been a massive fan of fast move pressure, hence I hate stuff like Wigglytuff and Gastrodon, but Cacturne does get that pass because it's hella glassy and it's quite fun. Oh baby, in the next battle, you couldn't ask for a better lead. Double super effective Volt Switches into Gyarados. The opponent says no thank you, save switch into Gastrodon, and this looks like very hard RPS. Devoncheddar actually willing to tank the Body Slam, which potentially means the opponent can flip this matchup if they're willing to invest both Protect Shields. I imagine if you give the opponent a little bone, dangle that opportunity to realign, they're going to take it, as they're going to do anything to realign their Pokemon. There's the first Protect Shield deployed. The next Leaf Blade. Oof. Okay. Why did you shield once and then just completely sack Gastrodon? That made absolutely no sense. The opponent doesn't flip switch advantage, leave down a Protect Shield, then make the pivot into Gorgeist. Ampharos fires off the Brutal Swing. Brutal Swing able to land quick pivot into Cacturne. Cacturne able to fully Sucker Punch farm down. Back out comes Gyarados. Cacturne might be glassy, but says Gyarados, you enjoy yourself, buddy. Aquatail simply doesn't get the job done. We survive the Dragon Breaths, reach the Trailblaze, and that is going to be all she wrote. GG's that opponent. Other than the fact that I've barely opened Pokemon Go for the last few weeks, another reason I haven't uploaded it, I've had a horrible cold that I've really struggled to shake off, and despite only being like 8 or 9 minutes into the video, my voice is already struggling. In the next battle, we see another Wigglytuff. Please tell me this opponent just lets it go. Please? Uh-oh. Okay, this is definitely game over. There is literally nothing we can do. Devoncheddar going to invest the Protect Shield. Oh, man. Oh, boy. Maybe they don't shield the second one. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. I honestly thought we was about to see a Wigglytuff sweep, which probably would have made me delete Pokemon Go forever, as that would have literally made me cry. But thankfully, we was able to maneuver our way around that Wigglytuff, slot down the remaining HP with Shiftry. The opponent sends out Licky, far too thicky. The opponent lands the Body Slam. Shiftry shrugs off the damage. I'm going to start unleashing the spam of Leaf Blades. Shiftry is so bloody quick, man. Hits incredibly hard. The first Leaf Blade did half the opponent's health. The second one forced a final Protect Shield. The The opponent is able to get a full rollout farm down, and this energy is going to be quite difficult to deal with. We send up Cacturne, go for the show and go, make the catch, back onto Ampharos, giving ourselves a fighting chance. This Lickitung is still completely loaded on energy, so we're kind of in a tough position. We're willing to take one body slam. Can we Sucker Punch farm down before the next body slam's reached? Unfortunately, we cannot. Cacturne now has no shields to hide behind, and already down to around a third health. Despite having limited HP, we're not going to need much as out comes the Steel Penguin. Bang! There it is, Dynamic Punch. A clean one-hit KO. We Sucker Punch farm down Lickitung. Shout out the GOAT, Oxford U for that quote. And once again, Devoncheddar is able to emerge victorious. In the next battle, we see Dusknoir in the lead position. Despite having Brutal Swing for coverage, I anticipated the instant pivot, and we do exactly that as we've got two things that do resist the Astonish damage in the back. Again, we see Cradily counter swapped into Shiftry behind an energy, and this is by no means a bad spot to be in. This next Leaf Blade almost guarantees a Protect Shield. Cradily users love to just spam shields up and try and very annoyingly flip their way through mid-game matchups. The opponents actually misjudged our energy generation. We forced both Protect Shields in the mid-game, again like a best case scenario. We're seeing Cacturne with a 1-0 shield advantage, absolutely delete teams, and in this battle we've got a 2-0 shield advantage. The opponent actually not wish to concede a farm down, pivot out into Alolan Ninetales. I'm not actually sure if we went for the classic U-switch, I-switch, or actually intended to switch in Cacturne into Ninetales, which is certainly an interesting choice. We're actually in danger over here, reverse 2 shield flexing. We've got 2 shields, however very, very limited HP. Have we got enough HP to survive the acids? Or is this going to be a classic Jamie Finn, reverse 2 shield flex in Ampharos? I believe hopes and dreams sometimes win battles. Ampharos on fractional HP, reach the Brutal Swings, and actually us that correctly 2 shield flex and not take a loss. Very nicely done. GG's. Heading into the next battle, we see the return of the Sableye lead. I imagine we're going to say Shiftry go quickly. Devoncheddar does exactly that. Shiftry enters the arena and starts to generate energy at a very, very alarming rate. The opponent banks of energy on Sableye and make the pivot into Cradily. We've seen this scenario time and time again, so if you are going to counter swap a Cradily into a Shiftry, what I'd recommend is getting out a bit quicker, because you're just going to be forced to burn both Protect Shields or dump energy, and neither's really ideal, to be honest. The opponent shielded once, surely they shield twice. Oh, CMP2. It is all going wrong for this opponent. As they switched out so bloody late, we was able to reach 3 Leaf Blades before the Rock Tomb was reached, which is kind of absurd. We send back out Ampharos. Ampharos tanks the Rock Tomb. The opponent then makes the pivot back into Sableye. We're going to fire off the Brutal Swing, force some chip damage, and it's hopefully now Cacturne's time to shine. Cacturne enters the arena, essentially going to be shielding everything. The opponent likely goes straight foul play. Oh my god, that's a full send of a Dazzling Gleam. What a huge Protect Shield deployed. Heartbreaking, this still doesn't enable a full Sucker Punch farm down before the departing foul play is reached, and we now find ourselves in a shieldless game, but Cacturne with a bucket of energy, good to go. The opponent waits out the timer, send back out Cradily. We do over farm and look to fire off the Trailblaze, value in health over energy. Trailblaze removes Cradily from the field of play. It's a Zoomer on the back. This Trailblaze going to be super effective, and already at +1. Trailblaze, absolutely ridiculous damage. Holy crap, man. We then make the quick pivot into Ampharos, 1 Volt Switch, snipes down the bulky blue bunny, and that is going to be all she wrote. Heading into the next battle, Ampharos into the ever-annoying Slug. By no means a good matchup, at least not in the 2-shield scenario. If shields are down, Trailblaze will be a 1-hit KO. We see the pivot into Shiftry, baiting out Talonflame, and this time it looks like us on the end of an RPS matchup. The opponent tanked the foul play. Look for the full Incinerate farm down, allow us to reach the Leaf Blade, which should be forcing a Protect Shield here in the mid-game matchup, and it does exactly that. I'm actually really liking this Shiftry safe switch today. Even in these matchups against Talonflame that on paper would be a completely hard counter, we're able to force a Protect Shield and hopefully clear the path for Cacturne to clean up. Back out comes Gastrodon. Trailblaze either going to 1-hit KO or force us a 2-0 shield advantage. The opponent obliged, putting up the Protect Shield. Here comes Cacturne, and once again Cradily enters the arena at blink, and you might miss it. Cradily going to be straight in and straight out. Get that Cradily off my screen. Back out comes Gastrodon, and the opponent really just playing the inevitable out. We've got 2 shields trainer. Your win con is us having a heart attack, and obviously as I've received this battle submission, Devoncheddar is alive and well, and I'm very grateful for it, as he is one of my favourite battlers to shoutcast. The opponent finally give up, and we take that game. Heading into the next battle, Shadow Ampharos into Shadow Quagman. Yikes. Shiftry, do your thing, buddy, and force us some kind of advantage in the mid-game matchup. Out comes Sizzle, and this is definitely a matchup we're going to obtain shield advantage. I literally would put my absolute life on the opponent's shield in this move, and they do exactly that. The opponent even dump energy too. Scared will reach another charge, and I think they would have got the bullet punch farm down in 2. Oh my god, they get the boost. Fuck my life. This now makes the game somewhat complicated for us. I imagine the original plan was just to send out Ampharos, tank one Night Slash, and attempt to fully Volt Switch farm down. We're now kind of obliged to shield Night Slashes, because if not, we would definitely die to the bullet punches. Despite the boost, we're not actually in a bad spot, to be honest, as we are going to get a full Volt Switch farm and leave very close to double Trailblaze. Back out comes Quagsire. We're not quite doubled up, we need one further Volt Switch. Trailblaze, force the final, protect shield, quick pivot into Cacturne. Oh no, out comes Celio. How many one-hit KOs have we seen in today's video? But here's going to be another one. A big fat satisfying bang. There it is. Celio straight in and straight out. Quagsire is going to dump energy, I'll be honest. I haven't been counting. I don't think they're doubled up. Oh my god, they full send a Stone Edge. Potentially double Aqua Tail. Would have enabled them to win. But we reach the Trailblaze, and that is going to be all she wrote, with Devoncheddar once again emerging victorious. You love to see it. GG's. I have absolutely no idea how many battles are in today's video. Devoncheddar did edit this up himself, which I'm very appreciative for. But the main man himself went a perfect 5-0. Heading into the next battle. What does Celio and a London boss, or London bosses I should say, have in common? You don't see one for ages, then 2 come along consecutively. The opponent says no thank you, save switch into Dedenne. We fire off the Trailblaze before making the pivot into Cacturne. Cacturne going to be going for the 1 shield, a full Sucker Punch farm down, and make the opponent's life very complicated. If they choose to send back out Celio, they're going to be forced to instantly give up a protect shield, or I guess you could sack it. Let's see what the opponent opts to do. They actually send out Mandibuzz, and the opponent's team is very ABA weak to Ampharos. We fire off the Dynamic Punch, which lands for decent neutral damage, and Cacturne even going to reach Dynamic Punch number 2. This won't quite be lethal, but I guess the opponent kind of has to shield something. There is the Protect Shield deployed, and rather than see the farm down, we do see the pivot into Ampharos, and I'm a big fan of that play. You never want to give your opponent just tons and tons of free farm, as it ends up putting you behind, especially when you got something that's good into both the remaining Pokemon. We force the opponent's final Protect Shield, and at this point Shiftry should be able to carry us home, although this Celio does have quite a lot of energy. They likely don't have Aurora Beams. We should be able to tank 1 Body Slam, not particularly well, but well enough. Devoncheddar puts up that Protect Shield, blocking up the first Body Slam. We're going to under-tap this Leaf Blade and just look to remove Celio from the field of play. Leaf Blade easily does that task. How has Shiftry got enough in the tank to actually knock out Mandibuzz? This Leaf Blade is resisted, and Mandibuzz is hella bulky. We land the Leaf Blade, make the pivot into Cacturne. Cacturne able to resist it, Sucker Punch farm down, and once again we take that game. Heading into the next battle, Ampharos into Skeledirge. I guess this is where the team wants to see it. Despite having 2 dark types in the back, I was going to say we would not appreciate the Incinerate damage, but this is actually a Hex variant of Skeledirge. Is Hex the way forward? In certain limited cups perhaps, but I don't think in the open greatly. Ampharos going to fire off the Brutal Swing, force our Protect Shield back. We're doubled up and look to throw back to back. The opponent shielded once. They actually opt to shield twice, and here comes Cacturne. Cacturne attempts to snipe down, but the opponent able to react quick enough. Fire off the Torch Song, forcing the final protection of the game. We're now in a shieldless game. The opponent sends out Toucannon. Toucannon going to be greeted with the Dynamic Punch. Poor old Toucannon going to get knocked out from the sky. Toucannon makes a very brief cameo appearance. Out comes Corviknight. The opponent very wisely looked to dump energy. I was hoping we reach one further Dynamic Punch, but unfortunately it wasn't meant to be. Devoncheddar sends back out Ampharos. Ampharos is going to be able to outpace to the Brutal Swing. Brutal Swing won't quite be lethal, but I think at this point the damage is already done. We actually make the catch onto Shiftry. Catching a super effective move, but one air cutter simply not going to cut it, especially not from Corviknight, as that thing hits like an absolute wet noodle. We get the full Snarl farm down on Skeledirge, leaving with the foul play. And foul play is going to be all she wrote, with Devoncheddar pulling off yet another very impressive dub. GG's. And that is just about going to wrap things up for today's video. Devoncheddar did actually send me a few more battles, but as you can tell from my voice, it is absolutely struggling. I need to get my lazy ass ready for night shift. Unfortunately, despite it being the holiday season, I did start my rotation of night shifts yesterday. I was one of them unfortunate people to work Christmas. It is what it is. I'm not going to complain. I do apologise for the lack of content in the new year. I will try and post more regularly. So if you're new, consider subscribing. If you're enjoying the content, do me a massive favour and smash that like button, as the algorithm is very much not going to be my friend after such a very inconsistent upload schedule. And as always, a huge thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.